Well, good evening. The NAA was founded, as many of you know, in 1949, and in 1961, 63 years ago, the NAA established the Auctioneers Hall of Fame. Since then, including tonight's inductees, only 177 members have been inducted. Tonight, we'll add 3 more names to that distinguished list, and if you are like me, I'm sure many of you are curious as to exactly how someone is chosen. It's a fairly simple process. The Hall of Fame Committee, which is made up of only Hall of Fame members, all Hall of Fame members, makes that decision. And they don't just sit around a table and randomly throw out names. The Hall of Fame Committee may only consider an individual who has been formally nominated, and those nominations must be submitted no later than June the 1st each year. The committee deliberates about qualifications, which includes, but is not limited to, business and professional contributions in service to their local communities and auctioneer associations. Any auctioneer who is a member of the NAA can be nominated by anyone. Nomination forms are available online from our headquarters office as well. Nominees are kept on the ballot for 5 years, and if not elected after 5 years, the name is removed. They can be nominated again after being off the ballot for 1 year. As members of the Hall of Fame, we are guilty, we kind of like this, of masterful, top-tier deception with family and friends of a new inductee, because that new inductee cannot know they've been elected. We take that element of surprise quite seriously. The Hall of Fame Committee voted last year in Oklahoma City on 3 individuals who will stand in front of you and stammer and stutter and spit and possibly tear up tonight. Tomorrow, the committee will meet again and will select next year's honorees to be inducted in Schaumburg, Illinois next summer. With selection done so far in advance, many people have to keep a really, really big secret and potentially evolve into pathological liars for a very long time. It's quite entertaining, actually, to plan and plot for what is going to happen in the next few minutes. The rules also allow for 1 deceased member to be inducted each year if the Hall of Fame Committee so desires. The nomination process for a posthumous award is exactly the same as I previously described. Before we do continue, I would be remiss if we did not remember 3 Hall of Fame members that have passed in the last year. Mr. Bob Steffes, November 23rd, 2023. Mr. William Gall, February the 11th, 2024. And Mr. Robin Marshall, May the 27th, 2024. Great men, unbelievably kind gentlemen, and their contribution to this association, this industry, is invaluable. In addition, so you all can put faces with names, I'd humbly ask all the members of the National Auction Association Hall of Fame who are present to please stand at this time and be recognized. That, ladies and gentlemen, represents an enormous amount of experience and wisdom. And if they're Hall of Famers that you don't know, I would highly encourage you to introduce yourself to them tonight at tonight's reception or before you leave Pittsburgh. These men and women are givers, they're encouragers, and they would love to pour into you. Now, without further delay, let's get this party started. Our first presenter, if he could please begin making his way to the stage, is former Indiana State Representative Dennis Cruz. Mr. Cruz was one of the biggest encouragers of me when I became a member in this association. He is kind. He is an amazing listener. He is a brilliant, brilliant mind. And without further delay, my friend, the podium is yours.
I'm going to do something a little different tonight in determining who the person that I'm going to induct in the Hall of Fame is. So I would like to begin by having all of you do something I don't think we've ever done for the Hall of Fame induction. I'd like all of you to stand, if you would please, just stand up. Okay, we're going to start with everyone standing. When I'm done, there should be one person left. So if you're not a Certified Auctioneer Institute designee, please sit down. I can't see how many, we got a few left there. Okay, if you are not 70 years old, if you're 70 or younger, please be seated. If you're under 70, please be seated. You're not 70 yet? All right. If you're not from Indiana, please be seated. How many are left? Can anybody see how many are left? Two. Okay, if you were not born in 1953, please be seated. Is there anybody standing? There's one person. Over here is that person. It's hard to see with these lights on. So the one person standing was born in 1953 in Columbus, Indiana. His family moved to a small farm on the south side of Indianapolis, where he still lives yet today. He helped his family raise cattle and registered English bulldogs. He worked his way through high school, working at a small livestock auction in Amity, Indiana, and the auction bug took hold of him at that time. In April of 1971, he married his high school sweetheart, Teresa, and they've been married now 51 years. Together, they have, Together, they have two children, Melissa and Jack Jr., and both of them, as well as Jack, have been president of the Indiana Auctioneers Association. And they are now grandparents of 9 grandchildren, which is the greatest blessing that Jack has in his life. So while supporting a family that was growing, Jack Christy attended auction school. He graduated in 1975, achieving his state license that year in the state of Indiana. For a while, he worked for a route driver for Frito-Lay and Little Debbie, selling snack cakes, potato chips, and bread during the day, and working in many auction houses at night to hone his bid calling skills, which he became a bid calling champion in the state of Indiana. During that time, he also attended Ball State University in Indiana, taking business classes. He purchased a furniture store in the 1980s and held auctions on the weekends at his store. In those 18 years is the time he joined the National Auctioneers Association and the Indiana Auctioneers Association. He's held many offices, including the president of Indiana in 1996 and bid calling champion in 1990. In 1995, he transformed an old lumber company into 4 buildings as an auction center. And many of you have visited there that went through the CAI classes in recent years. He had 5 auction rings going at one time, And Wednesday was the market day, so he had an auction every Wednesday for years. And during that time, he had over 40 auctioneers, clerks, and cashiers working on that auction market day. He had a tremendous business there, and I was able to visit many times over the years. And to me, it was one of the most quality auction houses that I've ever attended any place in the United States. The auction house has hosted many meetings, charity auctions, and funeral services, including a meal for a fallen Southport, Indiana police officer. It was a pleasure to host hundreds of officers and their families, plus all the volunteers that came to help for that funeral. In 2010, he bought the Repert School of Auctioneering from me and owned it for several years, and that became part of their auction business. And Jack Christy loves to teach. He's an excellent teacher. He's been teaching at Repert School of Auctioneering for years now, and he shares his knowledge with new auctioneers, as many of you have actually been part of that. He has taught on the state and national levels many times. After 50 years now as a licensed auctioneer, he has created a legacy to be passed down to the next generation. I think he is one of the nicest gentleman auctioneers I've ever met in my life. And I've been an auctioneer for 60 years and met a lot of auctioneers, but Jack Christy is a genuine gentleman. In 2000, he received the Indiana Auctioneers Association Hall of Fame, and he's also in the Repert School of Auctioneering Hall of Fame. He served on the NAA Education Institute Committee for many years. His designations are as follows. He was a CAI, and he served over 10 years on the CAI committee as an advisor, chairman, and also received the Distinguished Faculty Award in 2023. He also has the CES designation, and he helped to write that original course when that was created. He has his MPPA, and also he has his BAS, and was on the original committee to help create that designation. He has served on many boards and trustees for local churches in his community. He's a fine Christian man, and people recognize that when you're around him. And one of the things he did for years was he always opened up every auction with a word of prayer, which I always thought was pretty nice of him to do. So he's been a friend of mine for decades, and he and his family are friends of ours, close friends, and we appreciate him very much. And at this time, I'd like to have Jack Christy come forward with your wife and family. His plaque for the Hall of Fame of the National Auctioneers Association. Jack, congratulations. At this time, I'd like to have Jack make a few remarks. Jack.
Well, thank you so much. I'm very humbled at, but I just want to say that the Lord Jesus Christ has been in our lives forever, and he has guided our family. And I'm so thankful to be here. I just really don't know what to say. They're really good at keeping secrets. I thought I knew most what was going on, but I had no clue. But anyway, I just want to say thank you to all of you. I'm going to introduce my family, if that's okay with you all. On the end down here, I have my son, Jack Jr., that's taking over the business, and I'm so, so glad that he is going to continue the legacy of that, and he believes in what's right and good and his integrity, and I just am so, so, so thankful for that. And Next is Jackson. Jack has 5 children, and then we have Gavin and Grant and Amber, which we love her to death too, and that is Jack's wife, and she's very dear to us. And back over here, Weston, where are you? Oh, Weston's there. Then we have Grant and your girlfriend. I forgot her name, Lydia. I'm so sorry. And this is my son-in-law, Matt, and this is our daughter, Melissa, and my dear wife, and Sharon, which is my sister-in-law, and Rick in the back. Can I tell you real quick that Melissa 6 years ago come to me and said, Dad, I'm going to leave the business. And I said, oh my gosh, there goes my retirement, there goes our business, you know. What am I going to do? And she said, I want to be our church ministry children's director. And I want to tell you something, she's changed so many lives. That last week she had 350 kids at VBS, and I'm so thankful that she is doing that for the Lord. So thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.